I want to try something different today. I'm not going to ask for a recap at this exact moment, because chances are you might have your characters meet again, and then you're going to need a recap sort of in character anyways. So I figured we'd actually make the recap when Fancy perhaps meets up with the group again in character.
Sure.
Isn't that a great idea? I like it.
It's a great idea.
Okay.
And if Fancy and the group never meet, then you don't have to do a recap, which is also...
Sheep has trademarked that idea.
Yep, trademark.
Pending.
It's mine now.
Patent pending.
But, despite what I just said, we ended last session with you in Mayerton. Your dealings there more or less handled. And you did express interest in going to Freedom Soul to go after the strange merchant who seems to be doing things.
Mm-hmm.
Jax and Eisenbell, reunited as they are probably going to stay in Mayerton for at least a little bit longer. They have some dealings to take care of. They want to investigate where the hell their precious potential offspring went and things like that. You know, it's at least a quest that they can do together or something. So it's... Yeah?
I mean, we got our payment, and we're going to Freedom's Hold, and if they want to meet up there in the future, that's fine. Once we're done there, we're going to go to Coppergate, probably.
We don't really have much of an address or anything to give them, so...
No, that's the thing. We don't really live anywhere. We sort of just travel around.
It's sort of like, you know, if
like
we meet again by the wind of fate...
Yep.
Just follow
so shall it be decreed that we shall consider one another as allies.
Yes. I'm willing to consider...
The world is a pretty small place, so who knows?
Yeah. I mean, it's only this island that's the world, right?
I mean, as far as I know.
And let me open the window. There we go. And with that, if you wish to leave Mayerton, then you can. There will not really be any issues getting towards Lonebridge. No wilders jumping out of the forest, no...
Will dear Jax be okay with giving us Fancy's payment, since he was holding on to it last time?
Sure. He would be more than happy to do that.
Maybe we'll meet her before he does, something like that.
Oh, technically, she didn't actually escort him from Lonebridge to Mayerton, which is what the second part of the payment was for, but he is perfectly fine with paying her for this trip anyway. She was there in spirit.
Well, he is very generous, I gotta say.
That's pretty cool.
He's happy that we saved his girlfriend.
I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, we did, we went the extra mile, so yeah. Might as well.
He did seem to like Fancy a whole lot, and he also doesn't seem very great with money, so...
Maybe he would also like to pay the other person who we had with us, who didn't...
Bob,
the other halfling, you know.
Bob the Invisible.
Yeah.
You didn't see him, but...
There's the other halfling, his twin brother.
Yeah.
He was with us. You didn't notice him? Oh, that's very
That's so rude, Jack, so rude.
I'm Dimezz and he's Dimezz.
That's right.
He's not good with money, but he's not stupid.
Oh, well.
If I was a merchant hiring adventurers, I might believe that. It's like, oh, there's another thief I didn't see. Okay. I mean, yeah. Well, let's not bother him anymore.
Who am I to tell them they're wrong?
Well, we don't have an address or anything, but is there perhaps any way that we could try to reach them if we find any leads for their aid or anything like that, maybe?
Oh, Jax will tell you that chances are that they are going to eventually travel around a bit anyways, since it doesn't seem likely that whatever merchant bought there is still in Mayerton. But if you ever want to find them in the further future, well, there is a one of the tablets and one of the sort of booths at the on the road to Mayerton, those booths where travelers are supposed to rest. Turns out one of those tablets has Jax's name on it. So
Damn.
that would be a potential place.
We paid him a couple of gold to pass that place.
You
Is he
did.
is he
My
like
God.
mystically connected to that? Does he feel if we put anything on that?
No, nothing like that. But
Okay.
that's the only address he currently has,
Okay. The booth by the road. Alright.
basically.
The van down by the river.
Standing out there barbecuing.
Oh, that's
So-
great.
Unless he's out and about traveling with Eisenbell, in which case you can probably not find him very easily. He might be there.
Okay, well, we'll just not pay him and he'll show up. That's how this works, right?
Super pissed.
Yeah. You didn't pay my money. Be like, we thought you remember us. Like, you know the rules.
No,
Die.
it's
You have to
Yes.
pay to walk on the road. It's not your road. Well,
To Lonebridge.
yes, Graham does not have a desire to stay in this town anymore. It is a dismal place.
It
And
is.
people are so very rude and, no respect.
Especially in current times, the people are moody, at least.
Yes,
To say the
solve your
least.
fucking problems. Yes.
Yeah, going out of the city, the
Problems.
city's militia does not bother you again. They give you some sort of odd looks, but none of them seem willing to bother you. Stories might have spread or something.
It'll gives them like a thumbs up. See things.
Yeah. It does take 5, 6, most likely 6 days, although it's hard to judge when going through the eternal twilight of the tunnel through the Fenwood here, to reach sight of the bridge, which marks Lone Bridge. And as you approach said bridge, you also see that the bridge is rather populated. Mostly by men in armor, swords, helmets, looking somewhat, uniformed almost. One could assume that they are some sort of soldiers. They don't quite seem to be focusing too much on this side of the bridge, but rather the other, where there's a whole bunch of people just bunched up and looking rather, it's hard to tell from a distance, but angry, sort of nervous, disgruntled, that's a good word. One of the soldiers, however, does actually spot you approaching and looks somewhat confused as he approaches you. Let me find his token because I forgot to copy that.
Copy that.
SoldierTokens.com.
Copy that.
Yes. There. So you have someone to talk to.
He's not a square.
Who
He's not a
at him.
mook.
who
got a
dares
cool
stand in
personality.
front of us?
No, it's not a square. He's
Slay him,
round.
Bram.
Well, I
slay him.
suppose Graham, as usual, is traveling in the back of the party. That's what he usually does. So that's where he'll be.
So Dimezz is leading us?
You people.
Everyone steps back.
In fancy
The
wood.
soldier-
Ned is the stealthy slinker.
I see what's been happening whenever I have in here.
It's hopeless. It's absolutely hopeless, Grimith.
Normally
I have a
Thank-
skeleton. I don't make.
thank
this next
goodness you're
first
back.
impression.
Normally people try to cut to the front of the line.
We just dive backwards. It's weird, but it works,
Like sickly leper guy,
Yeah,
like religious
I'm-
elf.
I'm not a leper.
All mysterious, a little thief or guy with a
I'm
skeleton.
just,
It's
just very pale, alright? And a bit sweaty. Alright, I don't care, look at him. Who dares? No.
The soldier approaches you with. I'm not sure if it's actually quiet currently or if Skype is just lagging.
I think I was Skype.
No,
It's quiet currently.
Okay,
Finally,
good.
it's calmed down.
Good. The soldier approaches Anrakyn then, who walks at the head of the group with quick and somewhat too forceful of a step. His mood doesn't seem to be the greatest. As he goes, "What the hell is this then? Bridge is closed. That goes for both sides. You'll have to camp outside until the quarantine's lifted, or go back to where you came from. Supplies can be provided if you do camp outside, but you are not entering Lonebridge.
The quarantine is lifted. We took care of it.
Oh, of course you did.
Anrakyn looks at him. Yes.
Frowns at the erection. Listen. Myton is in trouble.
Was.
If you had been there, you would have known.
If
you had been there, the people there would have stopped you from entering in the first place. And likely from leaving, too, if they are any sort of competent.
Anrakyn frowns, points at the rest of the group. Are you saying that we are not competent? Are you saying that this group consisting of myself and my fine compatriots, he also motions to the Edeling, we are undead hunters, quite adept at what we do as well. We have applied our skills and our trade in Myton and are happy to report that the foul mists enveloping the city have been lifted. The source of it, an old fishery owned by the unscrupulous fish Mongol Rumar, has been destroyed, and his mist-producing cauldron is no more. I assure you, good sir, you can let us in.
As you mentioned and perhaps pointed at Edeling, the soldier does actually take a significant step back, looking a bit worried, looking back at Anrakyn. I don't know if what anything you say is true. I just see you people in front of me, coming from where you're not supposed to go, bringing with you things that have been reported to be in Myton, and to be quite honest, you're not looking great. Who knows what you're dragging into Lonebridge?
Anrakyn looks scandalized. Excuse me.
Anrakyn, we can just take the long way around. We don't have to use the bridge.
It's true, but we also have compatriots with us. I don't think they can take the same road.
I don't think there will be a problem. So just go down the road, you know. Leave the good officer to stay. He's just doing his duty.
Mumble. Bureaucrats. Oh, let's go into the river.
We do know those elves, right? Like, they have boats. They're hanging out there.
Do
We just go back and use their boats, right?
Well, they're my boats. I just said they could use them.
Okay, sure. Go use your boats.
Yeah.
But
I mean, if they're on this side of the river.
Unless they
Can
took
we perhaps see what is going on in the other side of the, I suppose, the guards? You said there were some kind of commotion going on?
From a distance, it looks like people wanting to cross, but essentially being stopped.
So the basics.
Yeah.
Well, let's take a walk.
So
go.
Walks a bit
Might
away
as
from
well.
out of sight, and then looks into the water and sighs.
we would have to pay the bridge anyway, right? If we were to cross it.
Yeah, but it's closed.
So that's cheaper as well.
Let's just use the boats.
Taking the long way around the bridge would add another day to your journey. The city is basically right there, but it's not that easy to just go into the river and back out.
No.
The river in most places is pretty rapid, and the boats are some distance away.
Yeah, it's understandable, but we're not really in a hurry, since the guy's probably not even there anyway, right?
I don't know.
We're following a trail, not a person.
That is true. We don't really.
I don't
have,
think
Think
dealing with the authorities here will be good for us.
I'll deal with
Likely slow us more down in the long run.
If only we had a way to prove our words.
I don't care enough. Let's just go and get the boats. We can probably walk like at the bottom of the river still. Just take a big rock, carry it through, just walk at the bottom and out the other side. But
And the boats are mostly for the others.
and the boats
But
are
before
mostly
we go,
Don't really have a problem with not having like all my stuff full of grime, so
no,
Gil-Galad is gonna turn
That's
to
fine too.
Dimezz. Could you perhaps try to be a little bit persuasive to this person?
I
Perhaps
He
we
is
could.
just doing his duty. I mean, I have no way to convince him to. I mean, like, it's not like I collect undead ears or something that I can show him.
So you don't really have any pressure on his wife or an uncle, maybe.
I know nothing about this man.
Okay, just checking.
I come from the Free City, not
You never know.
the Fenwood.
How is your dear darling wife?
Is this a picture of your daughter?
We know what
Yeah.
school she attends.
You never know.
That's a way to use relationship, guys. Well,
We'll go and get the boats.
Yeah, I have no problem with that.
let's stay away from the bridge, shall we? Let's not do that. How are the elves doing? Well, the elf, I guess.
Should be at least 2, I suppose.
Well, traveling through the forest, through paths that you may or may not remember, most likely may not remember because the Fenwood is a very confusing and dark
Dimezz
place.
doesn't forget.
But
It's like his job to not forget things.
getting through to Lonebridge, through the Fenwood, and over the river does sound like I would once again like to propose a skill challenge here. Because last time you traveled through the Fenwood, you had both Jax and the elf with you, leading you through the forest. Now you're on your own, and while you've already traveled this way once, it's a bit of a different situation to be
about we
led
just go,
and then...
How about we just go north and follow the shoreline?
Well, the river.
I mean, the
yeah.
boats will be at the shoreline. We don't just keep the river at the left side and keep going north. That should lead us to them. Right?
In theory.
Well, unless you walk straight to the bridge, past all the soldiers there, and then follow the river, you do have to move at least some distance through the forest.
But like,
The
we just move around.
the
them.
finding, yeah. Well, the finding part isn't going to be the most difficult part, but you still have to cross, boats or not. And so we'll package this all into a quick skill challenge to see how well you do.
Okay.
I'm
Which
glad
will
I
both
didn't go to
involve-
Meyerton. Suckers.
Which will both involve
Yeah.
finding there and getting over the river.
Well,
I can help us find.
if you
Well,
insist.
Jonas, it sounds like your logic is a great argument for what Anrakyn can do.
Mhm.
Anrakyn's
Also-
like, just
Follows
fucking
the
like
river.
follows.
Do you have a
Also,
I am,
one
that's-
important difference here. As you get to the river, you will quickly notice that the boats are all over the place and smashed.
Who would do that?
Good to
It's just
know.
rude.
The rough waters of the river might.
Well,
Well,
Anrakyn
know
is a
better.
traveler on many roads, and he will use this knowledge of traveling to come up with this simple idea and try to lead us to the right place. That's what I'm going to be doing.
sure. Sounds like
No.
something a smart person would do. So, intelligence?
Level, intelligence modifier, skill modifier, d20. There we go.
let's see.
Yes.
Well, Gil-Galad is a guard in the Order of 10. I mean, he has worked, a lot in the Wilderwood, and he probably knows his way around woods. He may be able to, kind of figure out basically the best places to, use the roots of the trees and, kind of find the best passage to go through.
Okay. Finding the easiest path to walk and such.
Hmm.
Also, Dimezz is a spy for hire, and it's his job to remember things such as paths and other such information. Maybe he recognizes part of the path and can perfectly recall the rest of the way.
Recognizing the path. I would say that you probably usually worked in more urban environments, but I do like the idea and would let you apply half your modifier. Half your background, that is. And remembering probably intelligence.
Should I use some stat as well?
Well, which stat would you find appropriate? Wisdom, probably for tracking.
I think so, yeah. Like,
Okay.
wisdom comes to mind. The most obvious
Oh
one.
no.
When we get to the actual fort, though, and the river is very strong, the person who might be screwed there is Dimezz. So Graham will use his great strength to, carry the weaker party member over the water.
Carrying the small and weak. Yeah, okay. Sure.
I like that.
Yeah,
Very light.
he's the holy thane of Vorgil. He's used to being the strong man in a group, leading people through terrible terrain.
Okay.
Let's see here.
All right. Turns out crossing a river, despite using the fort, which makes it really possible in the first place to walk over rather than having to swim against the not very fast but relentless current of the river here. It's pretty difficult. You do manage it, although barely. Anrakyn's guidance is a big help. Gil-Galad's abilities to find the actual path, to correct Dimezz when he thinks that he is going the right way but clearly is not, make things easier. Dimezz and Graham will lose a recovery here, as they have some trouble as Graham tries to carry him through the river, but they do make it. And so
Fucking
you're on the other
dunked me.
side.
You dunked me under the water.
I forget that some people have to breathe.
Baptized in the toilet, as it were.
Yeah. Gave me a swirly.
It's just a hazing ritual.
Mm. Haha, you're not undead. Haha.
Oh, the living! Oh,
Enjoy your wet ears.
Let's cross the river.
Okay, I suppose after that we would try to, make our way back to the road.
No, back to the Lone Bridge, probably.
Probably. That's
Dry
probably
off.
the easiest way to find our way, basically. We may want to take a break there as well.
Taking the same way that you essentially took when Jax was leading you, and the elf for that matter, does lead you back into Lone Bridge. Not into the exact center of it, or the way you would come if you crossed the river over the bridge, obviously, but it does take you into the same, basically, alleyway that the tavern you stayed in was at, the Voracious Wilder. And as you get there, you do notice something that stands out, perhaps, as standing in that alley, a bit distance away perhaps, someone you very clearly recognize. It's Fancy.
I'm standing in an alley.
Yes.
What am I doing in the alley? God.
Hard times.
You tell me.
In an alley? I don't.
It's one of the bigger alleys where essentially Lone Bridge only has two types of roads. It has the one big thoroughway and then alleys of different sizes leading off of it. And since the party is currently not really going towards the big road leading through the city, they come out in an alley. Maybe Fancy is standing at like the intersection of the big road and the alleyway inside of the party, something like that.
All right. Huh. I don't know. Maybe she doesn't know. I don't know. I can't think of anything. Alley
Yes.
was not something that clued into my head.
Perhaps it's just passing through.
Regardless, the two groups meet, as it were.
Is he alone? No new groom or anybody?
All the new friends.
Probably be alone. I don't know.
Still trying to figure out what I'm doing in an alley. Maybe Manaki was right. Hard times.
So I suppose he looks kind of lost.
Sure, I guess to match Grimith's confusion. Yeah. Why not? Yeah, okay.
Oh, it's like you're conveniently dropped here.
Perhaps an illusion spell.
I didn't think I'd be conveniently dropped in an alley, which is why any sort of like semblance I had for bridging the gap is completely shattered.
I mean, I figured if the meeting is already incredibly convenient, it might as well be incredibly convenient.
Yeah, the gods want what the gods want.
I love convenience.
All right, what else do the gods want? Because otherwise, this is just continuing to fester with awkwardness.
Well, you could just go your separate ways, I suppose, but you still have that payment you could give her or something. Help me out here.
Wait, guys, isn't not possible?
You put us in an alley. I don't know where to go from here. I'm like digging through like dumpsters and refuse for food. Pulling out fish.
Okay, that works. Graham sees it. Wipes a tear away from his eye. Takes the bag of money that was supposed to be for fancy. Walks over with it. Reaching out and says, "This is from Jax.
I mean,
you don't have to
alley,
live like this."
I mean, I guess like from how Sheep described it, they're like smaller roads, but since the city's like so packed up together, they're alleys. I guess that removes some of the pejorative terminology of finding someone in an alleyway.
It's alleyway as in a smallish road surrounded by taller buildings. It's not the dirty a side street essentially. It's not the dirty alleyway full of trash and hookers or something, whatever.
Wow.
So say it's Sheep.
Okay.
So I
All
can't. Okay.
At a side street then. What am I doing at a side street?
Digging fish bones.
No, shut up, Manaki. I'm trying to go into serious mode, helping God out here.
Could be some soap you were interested in.
God damn it, shut up! Let me fucking think!
Sorry.
Alright. I know what Fancy's doing. Right. Fancy is walking with clear determination and purpose, and her eyes are looking around wondering where the fuck the tavern is. But goddamn it, she's walking. And she has nothing with her other than her stuff, which has not changed. And she has no one with her. And because she's so absent-minded, she isn't paying attention to anyone else in the alleyway. There.
I don't know. No, I like it.
God damn it, Anrakyn, you're in the front. You're the one.
Yeah, you talk.
Yes, you talk.
It didn't go that well when I tried to talk the last time. I don't know.
You want me to do it? Push through. No.
There goes Fancy, bye.
The tavern is like here, so we like come like around the mysterious like dark corner from that goes into like the swamp. I guess we're all like we have like muck on it. At least Graham and Dimezz would have like muck from head to toe, just like
totally
crusty.
Doesn't look mysterious like people covered in wet muck rolling into Lone Bridge with the quarantine.
I have prestidigitation. I can just remove that stuff. I am looking.
Yeah, not to mention the Etterling and the Pale Man and the Halfling.
Yeah.
We're just like,
How pretty I am.
just like scraping it off his arms as it begins to harden.
So a lot of people are
Going to
like
the tavern.
giving looks like, who the hell are these people? Like, what are they
It's
doing?
in the
Like,
alleyway.
see, like a Meyerton. And the only person who's not paying attention is Fancy.
Something like that.
So I'll walk up to like the door to go in, and I see Fancy says, "Oh, well, after you, Miss Fancy."
Without looking, thank you. Walks in.
Just stands there for like 2 seconds and follows. Thinking that, people might not look as much if he's in company with her.
As you enter the tavern, people do look a bit, but you've been here before, and most of the people are in fact regulars who come here a lot. So, on the one hand, you look strange. On the other hand, you are a known strange person. So it kind of balances out.
Walk up to Fancy slightly and says, "We lost you here. I'm sorry
What?
we didn't."
Like Fancy like stops her walk and like turns around the tavern. Like narrows her eyes. Has that I recognize you baby look?
So looks at her. So looks at himself. Looks at the Etterlings. Says, "You never mind." And then he like takes the money for her.
Oh, you're the kind of. Oh.
And like,
hi, how are
hands
you?
it to her and says, "Jax wanted you to give you this, even though you didn't
What?
end up following us.
What?
The poet is outside, likely
What?
gushing himself."
Like Fancy like extends like her hand to like put on like the old man's like shoulder. It's good to see you. You look a little rough around the edges, but
Yes,
it's good.
"I need a bath."
Fancy wrinkles her nose. Like
This-
looks down at the bag. I already got paid for going to Lonebridge. What is this?
It's gold, I presume. Jax wanted you to have it.
Oh.
You'll thank him when you see him next.
Okay. So how'd it go?
So, went splendid. We could have a conversation, but I would really rather have a bath first.
Oh,
You understand?
Sure.
Sort of, excuse me. Walks past
Right.
to the bar, and hopefully they have baths here. So
No.
They do. The grumpy old barkeep sends a woman, perhaps his daughter or something. They look somewhat similar, at least. She can prepare a bath for you.
sure.
It won't be a hot bath. It'll be a rather cold bath, but it'll be a bath.
I don't mind.
Fancy stares at like the bag of like muck covered like money that like Graham put into her hand. Doesn't really know what to do with it.
Gil is gonna approach Fancy as well and say,
Standing awkwardly, looking at the money.
I'm sorry to interrupt.
She like lifts her eyes. You were traveling with the kind old man. Hi.
Yes, indeed. I was meaning to ask you actually, since you apparently have been here for all this time.
Oh, I haven't been. What the hell? Whoa!
Whoa.
I had
Hello?
to take off the headset there. What the fuck was that?
I don't know.
Warp storm from Jonas, I think.
Rip
No,
my
I heard
ears.
it. I heard it too. That wasn't me.
So it was from me. I didn't hear anything.
Yep.
I guess.
You.
Sorry.
You foul.
Oh,
Ow.
I have no idea what are you guys talking about. So
You are skull fucking your microphone.
It sounds like the cord is somewhat being tucked on or something.
Okay,
'Cause
let
it
me
makes like
quickly
that weird
try
like
to see what could it be.
sound.
it sounds like getting a static shock feels.
Bad.
Yeah, a little longer though. More sustained.
Could you guys still hear that? Because I was muted.
No, it's
No, it's only like
It's gone now.
sometimes.
It's gone now, yeah.
Have no idea what could.
Okay.
Anyway. Okay, if you hear that again, let me know. Try to see if things can be done.
We will.
So where was I? Yeah. Fancy. So, have you by any chance seen any more of these mercenaries we met on our way here?
No?
No. They seem to have been at the very least looking partially for you. So it could be possible. And we may have some leads about their origin.
Well, everyone comes from somewhere.
Yes, indeed. Now we should be departing again soon. Probably gonna stay here for at least a short bath, I suppose. Maybe some food as well, bit of rest. But once we depart, perhaps you want to accompany us again. It seems that this problem certainly involves you in some.
Sure. I was gonna go back west. Where are you going?
No.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, Skype
Yeah.
is being very terrible at the moment.
Freedom's Hold.
Oh, well, that is west. Sure, I'll go with
Yeah.
you to Freedom's Hold.
Okay. Well then, it's a pleasure to travel with you again.
Yeah.
But first, we have to get ourselves back in safe, I believe.
Okay.
Try to stick around this time. We don't want to lose you again.
What?
Okay, he will know that, go grab something to eat, probably.
Fancy follows us back, lose me.
I think this conversation very, very strictly characterizes the two characters.
Dimezz walks in on his way to the baths, waves at Fancy, nods, continues on. No conversation needed.
Fancy doesn't even notice, still staring confusedly at Gil-Galad's back.
That was something. And
Do the recap.
oh
God,
Skype
could someone else
dying.
host the Skype call?
Better?
It is.
Yeah,
No,
you
it's
seem fine.
better for me.
I guess it is. Who was hosting before?
I was. It was I.
Is it my connection?
This was
Steam
I.
Power? No. Well, this will have to do, I guess.
It's pretty decent for now, anyway.
Everyone back?
Sure.
Everyone's joined, yeah.
I did
Sure.
start the call.
Okay, good.
Well, Fancy will finish staring at Gil-Galad's back and then stand there thinking for a few seconds about what she was doing before she was interrupted by the kindly old man. And then she'll remember and go up to her room.
Wanted to know.
Right. If there's no more interaction to be to be wanted here, then we can continue with the next day, and presumably with your departure from Lonebridge again.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
There's a long way to walk.
It is.
About that, are we actually gonna walk? I was wondering a few things about horses. How available are they?
Horses are available, although expensive. As in twice the price.
Oh,
Let me find the price for you.
It'd
if you
be
do wish to purchase
40
horses.
gold pieces for a riding horse, then I do believe.
a follow-up question then about the
40,
riding
yes.
horse. Would we need the battle trained? Like in case of battle, we don't actually. Well, I don't plan to use it in the battle, but I don't want it to, just freak out and run away either.
Well, then you might want to get a battle-trained horse. Which it would be 160 gold pieces.
Yeah, that
Yep.
would be a bit more.
As for Fancy,
Okay.
before we go cheap, 25 gold pieces. She doesn't know what to do with those, so she is going to give them to is the kindly caravan guard, who was a former fire breather in her family circus after she returned their daughter, and just give them the 25 gold pieces. Hopefully they can pick their lives back up, and maybe their daughter won't wander off any longer, because she doesn't know what to do with money.
He'll be delighted by the offer and promise to use the money to buy a cake to eat in Fancy's honor.
Awesome.
That's
Fancy loves
gold
it.
piece cake.
That's some
Oh
cake.
my god.
Not with all the money.
She will be sad and having been missing the cake, but she has to go. So what
It's a
Hug's all
fancy
about.
cake.
But no, Fancy doesn't know what to do with those 25 gold pieces, so
Yep.
All right. Leaving Lonebridge. Exiting Lonebridge does take you a little ways through the Fenwood, although what you might have previously considered to be a deep, dark forest compared to the actual Fenwood on the road from Lonebridge to Brighton, it's basically just nothing really. You could actually see the sky in places, and you actually know exactly whether it's noon or night.
That's clearly sorcery.
Wow.
I do like the sky. Stars especially.
I like you.
oh, it is good to be moving again.
Yes. I suppose since we're walking, we might as well talk. And he'll basically begin telling the story. So we went with Jax to Myton. We went around along the river to find a place where we were allowed to cross. We had to deal with a wilder there, talks of Gil-Galad, helping some elves who wanted to build a secondary bridge. We fought a few monsters of the Fenwood, eventually defeating this wilder and continuing on. Then we met a merchant, I think. No, wait, that's before. Anyway, we continued to Myton. It was a very terribly filled city. Almost half of it was covered in strange mists and undead. We braved the mists and got to the heart of it, where we destroyed the necromancer, stopped the cauldron that was releasing the mist, and reunited Jax with his beloved. Then we went back.
That's so sweet.
Oh, yes, she did have very pretty eyes.
Is she all right?
Yeah.
Was she like an addict?
She was
or...
alright. The necromancer had taken their egg and was using it to force her to stay.
Wait, egg?
They
What?
are going to. Yes, they had an egg together.
But like from a bird?
No, they are. Jax was a Tanninim.
Right, that's what the dragon thinks.
Look
Yes,
at him.
Tannidim.
They have eggs. I understand.
So the
Sort of
necromancer
taking it out of the
had
moment.
had a tanninum egg, and they were using it to control this woman, his beloved.
Yes. Yes, that is right. They are going to look for it, but they don't really have many leads, other than it was sold to a merchant by the necromancer, though he didn't tell them that before his dying breath.
Wait. How was the egg being used to control her if the necromancer had sold the egg?
I believe she didn't have that information at the time.
She wasn't willing to risk calling the bluff.
Oh, okay, so the egg wasn't magic. It was just... Was it her egg?
Yes.
Oh,
Her and Jax's, most likely.
They sold her baby?
Yeah. I have a suspicion that the merchant we're trying to find now might have something to do with it. Here's the one who sold Jax the necromantic vial as well. I have also asked about him and learned that he has sold it to several children coming to seek medicine for their father in a remote mountain village some time ago. He sells it for no money, really, simply to those who are desperate for help, so that they could be cursed instead. A despicable man. That's why we want to go to Lonebridge. That's why we go to Freedom's Hold. It's the place he was last seen.
It's more or less the gist of it.
Not the kind of man I think should be walking around.
How hideous.
So, what is your story?
Story? I have plenty. Which story?
A recent one. There's a long road. I'm sure we'll get through quite a few.
Oh, so we walked with Jax to Lonebridge, and we were staying there for a while, and I found a lovely tree to sit out under and watch the main avenue, and wouldn't you know it, while sitting there, it doesn't matter why I was sitting there, but I found Jacob Brask. He is an absolute adorable of a man, rather big. He's got a big, long beard, and he was the fire breather of my family's circus. I hadn't seen him for years, so I ran up to him, and I hugged him, but he looked particularly sad. I asked him whether the circus was in town, because I hadn't been to see it since I sold it, but it turns out he was fired. He was let go. But it was all right, because he was married, and he was working as a caravan guard, and so I talked to him, I asked him, and it seems that their child had disappeared, vanished several days ago, and I could not let him worry about it, so I offered I'll go find the kid. So I looked high and low, and I found Summer, adorable little girl, absolutely sweet, radiant blue eyes. Found her. She had wandered off toward the outskirts of the Fenwood, and she had been grabbed up by a group of goblins. But it's all right. The goblins are fine, Summer is fine, I'm fine. They're just misunderstood.
Goblin, huh?
Yeah, they have a bad reputation, but those goblins in particular, they were just hungry, so I cooked for them, I told them some stories, and they let Summer go. And I returned Summer to her family. And everything is well.
That's an interesting
Not a bad story.
And I didn't remember that the trip from Lonebridge to Meyerton until after that. But it looks like you all did well. So everything is fine.
It is reasonably, yes. So what are you going to be doing in the West?
I tried to go to Meyerton, but then there was a quarantine, so I couldn't go to Meyerton. So I figured I'd sit around for a few days and visit with Jacob until the quarantine lifted, but it never did, so then I figured I would just head west.
As good a place as any.
Why is there a quarantine? Do you know? I don't know.
Yes, there's the undead. They were afraid of them coming down south. We've took care of it, but they don't believe that.
Fancy in epiphany sort of thing, flits her eyes towards the Etterling and says, I wonder why.
Yes, not the most open-minded people. Not catching the...
Oh, well. We can leave them behind and head for Freedom's Home.
Yes, as it's not people who like this area, so as I remember.
It is great to exercise again. I've been in Lonebridge for a while. And there's only so many parties you can go to before you get tired.
Sort of smiled with a, oh sweet summer child. Parties, that was once.
Wanderlust, the stuff of adventure.
Yes, it,
Well, not just humans, but races all over the Isle.
I wouldn't be able to tell. That though some, sure.
Well, they all part in their own way, I suppose. I think halflings do the best ones, though. Looking at Dimezz.
I haven't partied with a group of fellow halflings in quite a while.
I think you're one of the only ones I've seen.
We're not a common folk. We, they're...
Elusive, disappearing from you rather easily.
Not only that, but there aren't that many of us that I know of, anyway. We, all the halflings I know were the ones that were on the boat I came here on. I've seen a few others. But...
You came on a boat?
Oh, yes, from far away.
What is your homeland like?
It's nothing notable.
I highly doubt that. To someone who's only seen this land, and then the one that died 1,000 years ago, it must be quite a place.
Well,
I used to think that there only was these two.
I left.
Nonsense at all. That usually is the case.
I've never been on a ship before, only small boats. What is that like?
Cold and wet.
The sea rocks and tosses.
Makes you feel helpless.
A sea
throw
of
you
rocks
overboard and kill you.
Tosses?
You're never stable. Never able to stand firm on your feet.
Sea of rocks and tosses, never stable, never able.
I think the key part is to stay by the shore.
Sea of rocks and tosses, never stable, never able. Fancy nods slowly to herself.
Dimezz just kind of looks confused. But, sure.
Oh, yeah, so ship. How ship unstable? Like, rough? So you wouldn't go back on a ship again?
I would. Only, however, not over the sea. No, I think I've had enough of that.
Yes, exactly.
Besides,
I
should
like
I follow
boats,
a
I
boat
just
now,
don't
it
like
might be
the open
worse than it
seas.
used to be. There's open seas are generally there for people not to cross.
Oh, but cross them I did.
So
Wouldn't
did we.
recommend it. Dimezz nods thoughtfully at Graham.
Yeah.
A kindred soul, somewhat.
Probably the worst thing in his life, honestly.
Yeah. Now his unlife, that's another matter.
No, probably still there. Well, I mean, maybe like the second worst. Third worst.
Dying kind of sucks.
Yeah. Josh. But the feeling of being helpless in a storm, unable to do anything, just hoping that you don't die, is also not that great.
Yep.
Well, I'm sure more stories will be shared as we make our way to Freedom's Hold.
It is a couple days worth travel. It's not as bad as it was in the Vanwood, because the road's actually sturdy, proper cobblestone where even large wagons could drive on with no problems. And the distance is a little bit less too. It does happen that 1 or 2 days into your journey, as you exit the Fenwood completely, even exit the kind of surrounding lightly forested areas to enter the hilly plains that surround Freedom's Hold, you see a rather large shape approaching you. Not on the road, but rather in the skies. It quickly grows a bit larger, and you see something that perhaps none of you have ever really seen. It is definitely one of the Teninum, a rather large specimen for that matter, large enough to fly without hardly any trouble, it seems. But the creature is entirely grey. From a distance, it almost looks like an incredibly uninspired artist took a blob of clay and told his equally uninspired child to try to form a Teninum. Featureless, almost anyways, grey, barely any light reflecting of the scales. And as those thoughts might cross through your heads or whatever, the shape comes directly for you.
Oh, well, Fancy, being who she is, would point at the distance and say, "Oh, look, is Jax coming back?"
This is not Jax. I see. It's like, these things with dragons come towards you. You get prepared, basically, right?
Yeah.
Deal with them.
Does it seem to be approaching like aggressively, or just coming our way?
It's a bit hard to tell, but it's not spewing fire and shouting insults.
Okay, yeah. So it's not obviously charging for us or anything.
I mean, well, Teninum fly the skies all the time. We're on the road, so we're not in the way.
It's mostly the larger Teninum that actually have the endurance to fly for any reasonable amount of time. The city Teninum don't really fly that much. On the road, perhaps occasionally, but they can't really fly for longer than an hour or two.
Well, it's not polite to stare while he or she or whatever flies over. But just keep going.
It doesn't stop Graham from keeping an eye on it.
See, would we actually know anything about them, given how they may be associated with the Grey and all?
All of you would most likely know that pretty much that Grey Teninum are a very weird thing. You might not exactly know why they're weird, but you would also know that most definitely all of them are associated with the big and important personage that is the Grey and the Order of the Grey Scale. You would know that the Order of the Grey Scale prides itself on two things: political neutrality and religious correctness, in a sense. They are often employed as official messengers in various capacities. Official messengers and neutral messengers.
Alright.
And as the figure comes closer, you can also make out that there seems to be a person sitting on its back. Judging by the size, probably not a dwarf or halfling. And as it comes closer and the creature actually landing right in front of you, it's rather easy to make out that it is in fact a human. Let me paste the tokens here.
How far in front?
A respectable distance.